You can skip to this time frame if you just want the meat of the video, but I'd like to talk about the not so uncommon comparisons made between Slay the Spire and Across the Obelisk that came out after the latter's 1.0 release. It's a fascinating juxtaposition, and there are some cool intricacies woven into each game's design to facilitate replayability, variety, and satisfaction. Do I sound like a verbose cunt yet? STS vs ATO is not a series that pits the games to find which is better, but it's rather a breakdown of what makes each game so fun, and the implications of their different approaches to mechanics and game design. I'm sure the Chad roguelike player base would consider it a fun watch. I think it's best to start off by having a general overview of a few differing base mechanics, starting off simple, you know? STS has it simple. Every turn you start with energy equal to your max energy. The default for every character is always 3. Now note that I put max in quotations, and that's because, just like human stupidity, there is no max to how high it can go. You can actually go above that cap by thousands and thousands if you wanted to. You can gain more energy through cards, relics, and with a certain potion. Now unless you have the ice cream relic, energy is not retained between turns in STS, meaning that if you try to store 20 energy turn 1 when your cap is 4, you'll lose energy back down to 4 by the start of the next turn and cry. Swap over to ATO and things get spicy. Imagine if Ice Cream and Lantern on steroids were base kit. That's ATO energy for you, meaning you can retain energy between turns and you regenerate energy every single turn, the default being 3 per turn. The energy regeneration includes the first turn, by the way, and starting energy is its own stat, meaning your starting energy for turn 1 is more than what you regenerate per turn, consistently giving you better and flashier turn 1s than STS. However, ATO energy has a hard cap of 10, and you can't go over that because counting is hard. You can still use more than 10 energy in a turn by spending some first and then regaining more, and you can get more energy through cards, primarily mage cards, equipment, character talents, and perks. The player always goes first in STS, and then they alternate with their foes from there. In the event of multiple enemies, it usually goes left to right on their turn, and back to the player once every enemy has made their shmoo. ATO is pretty much like D&D, except you don't roll initiative, you just have a speed stat that determines where you are on the turn order. You can increase or decrease your speed stat through cards, equipment, or perks. This can also be manipulated with status effects mid-round. Each combatant strictly gets 1 turn per round. Mom said it's my turn in the fight to the death. There are a few actual damage types in STS, though each with its own little nuances, strengths, weaknesses, and interactions with the game. There's good old regular damage, poison, orbs, technically mark as well, even though it's from a singular card. I guess you could count that. It's also not like Pokemon, where enemies are weak or resistant to different damage types just by virtue of their typing. It's a bit more subtle in STS as to what beats what. Now, if STS damage types are like a modest breakfast, ATO damage types are like Mediterranean buffet. Every character and enemy in ATO has something called a resistance sheet, which can be as high as 95% or as low as my intelligence on a good day. There are a lot more damage types here than in STS, and most with a status effect directly associated with it. There are statuses that can increase or decrease your resistance for corresponding damage types. Each enemy's resistance sheet is different, and plenty can be done with that. It's a lot to take in, but you get used to it after a couple runs. Jumping from STS to ATO is like finishing first grade and being shoved straight to calculus. You got your basic math, but you have no clue what all these bloated numbers mean. It's easier to put 2 and 2 together when it comes to gauging how strong or weak values are in STS, since the math is real simple and the scale at which all the numbers are balanced is so toddler-friendly, even an unborn baby can't possibly mess it up. Hey look, it's got 11 HP. Alright, pretty simple stuff. A strike does 6 damage. Just hit it twice and boom, it's dead. Wait, hold up. But with ATO's comparatively inflated numbers, resistances, and the numbery nature of their numbers, it'll take you a few runs, a math tutor, master's degree in rocket science, cup of joes, casual midlife crisis, and there you go, you can play Across the Obelisk. Wasn't that hard, all it took was a small loan of half your soul. I know it's a short and seemingly incomplete list, but I'm reserving the remaining aspects for a more fitting debut, so if you want to see more analysis-style stuff, then you should subscribe for the financially threatening price of free. Thanks.